Most people read the headlines. I read the small print. This is Footnotes, where I find the biggest stories in the smallest detail. Every month, the ritual was as certain as the morning tide. A trip to see Gran. Mom and Dad and young Martin, all of 8 years old, trekking down to the station, boarding the regional service, and making the return journey the following afternoon. But 8 is a transitional age. It's the age where a boy begins to trade his toy soldiers for the real world, and little Martin decided he was quite finished with the holding hands portion of the journey. "I'm nearly a man," he told them, standing with his shoulders squared. "I can go to Gran's on my own." Now, his parents didn't dismiss him. They shared a long, quiet look, the kind of look that weighs the pride of a son against the worry of a mother, and then they said yes. On the day of the great departure, the platform felt as long as a football pitch. His parents stood by the carriage door offering a final chorus of "Don't talk to strangers" and "Keep your ticket safe." Martin, brimming with the newfound authority of a Year 4 student, gave a weary roll of his eyes. "I know," he said. "I've been told 1,000 times." The guard checked his watch and raised his green flag. But just as Martin was boarding, his father leaned down. He didn't offer a lecture. Instead, he slipped a small, folded bit of paper into the pocket of the boy's anorak. "Son, if you feel a bit out of your depth, if you feel the nerves coming on, open this, but only if you truly need to." The doors hissed shut, the engine growled, and the train pulled away from the station. For the first half hour, Martin was the king of the Great Western Line. He watched the hedgerows and the gray stone cottages blur into a green smudge. But as the journey wore on, the big world began to crowd in. The carriage filled with commuters, loud, bustling folks who didn't look twice at a boy in a window seat. The ticket inspector made a gruff remark about lads wandering about. A man in the opposite seat stared with a face like a midwinter fog, making Martin feel very small in his seat. The excitement of independence was fading. The carriage felt cold, and the silence of his own company grew heavy. He put his head down, his lip began to tremble, and he felt a sudden, sharp ache for the safety of home. He felt cornered by the vastness of it all. Then he remembered his pocket. With shaking fingers, the 8-year-old pulled out that tiny scrap of paper. He unfolded it slowly, blinking back the dampness in his eyes to read his father's handwriting. The note said, "Son, I'm in the very last carriage." We spend our lives preparing them for the solo journey. We give them the boots, the map, and the 1,000 warnings. But a father's heart knows that even the most grown-up 8-year-old needs to know that if the world gets a bit too gray, someone who loves him is just a few coaches back, watching the signals. I'm Brenda, and you've been listening to Footnotes.